I wanted to dedicate a section of this course to picking out the right safety gear. The first and foremost and most important piece of gear is going to be your helmet. So I want to go over a few different styles of helmets and what to look for and how to choose a specific helmet for your needs. The first helmet I have here is what would be considered a full face helmet. This is more of a retro style. This isn't necessarily, from a functionality standpoint, the best helmet you can get, but it's a DOT approved helmet, which means it's approved by the Department of Transportation to meet the certain criteria to be a very safe helmet. This is one of my personal helmets, and a lot of the reason I wear this helmet is a combination of both the style of it and the safety and functionality that it gives you. Okay, this is a full face bell helmet here. From a functionality and a safety standpoint, there's really not a better helmet out there as far as protecting you in the event of an accident. So something like this, if you're looking to protect yourself as much as possible, you're going to want to stick with something like this. It has a full jaw line around the bottom, has a flip up visor, and it's a DOT approved helmet. So this is a good option to go with if you're really looking to protect yourself. Now this helmet is what's known as a 3/4 helmet, because basically you have 3/4 of a full face helmet. So as you can see, you don't have the front part that protects your jaw and chin. You have the flip down visor that covers you up. Some of the benefits to a helmet like this is you get a little bit more ventilation in the helmet, so on hot days and things like that, you have a little bit more wind flow in the helmet. You're not as susceptible as you are in a full face to maybe fogging up if it's raining out or if it's cold and things like that. You're not going to have the fog up factor that you would with a full face. This is another example of a full face helmet. Again, as you can see the front jaw line that falls all the way around the front jaw and chin area. This is what's called a modular helmet. The entire front flips up much like a visor would. Again, it's kind of just a functionality benefit that some people prefer. A lot of when you're choosing your helmet comes down to preference. The functionality that is always kind of the facts are that the more coverage you have, like with a full face helmet, the more protected you're going to be. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of half helmets. On a half helmet, you're not going to nearly have the protection properties that you have with a full face helmet. So this is an example of a half helmet here. The half helmets are very popular in the heavy cruiser world. The guys that ride Harley Davidsons or just heavy cruisers in general, a lot of times like the half helmets. A lot of it is a style point. Kind of the overall feeling and culture of heavy cruiser industry and motorcycles is more of a rebellious freedom culture and attitude, and with the half helmet you kind of have more of that free-spirited look and feel about things. You may be not as concerned about protecting yourself completely as maybe a sport bike rider is, because quite frankly the riding isn't as aggressive as a sport bike rider is. Heavy cruiser riders are content with just doing that, just cruising. Here's another example of a half helmet. So again, you don't have as much protection as a full face or a 3/4 helmet, but you have more of that wind in your face feel. A lot of Harley riders and just heavy cruiser riders prefer that wind in your face feel. A lot of states don't even require that you wear a helmet. In a lot of states, guys don't even wear helmets because, again, they're all about that rebellious, win in your face, buck the system, rebellious attitude to them. So they take the risk of not protecting themselves. The guys that kind of want to stay in between that and walk the line, they'll get a half helmet. Definitely a lot better protection than no helmet at all. But again, not as much protection as a 3/4 helmet or a full face helmet. And just to repeat myself, a lot of picking your helmet has to do with the overall style of you and your motorcycle. For most people, your motorcycle is kind of a personal statement to you, yourself, and the world. If you have a bobber, greaser style retro bike, you're gonna wear a helmet that kind of is uniform and reflects that attitude and that style. Now, if you ride something that's more along the lines of a sport bike, something more of a modern look, then most of those guys all wear a full face helmet. Just kind of goes with the overall gear and staying uniform with the bike and the type of gear that's commonly worn with the bikes. Now, I didn't want to spend too much time on how to properly fit yourself for a helmet because I'm kind of stepping outside of the bounds of what this course is really about. But basically, you want to have a helmet that once it's all strapped on and everything, I usually tell people to give it the shake test. If you shake your head forward and backwards and left and right, you shouldn't have any movement on the helmet. But at the same time, you don't want it too tight. If it's too tight, your head is just going to ache. So I would recommend going to a retail store and just trying on a bunch of helmets and really getting a feel for what you like and the different fits and everything.